Hello everyone and welcome back to the New York Empoleon's Week 10 Team Builder of the SDA. We are here this week taking on Daily 26, coach of the Hartford Yard Gogoats, a coach we have not faced since the PCL way back when. And this is an interesting one because you may have noticed there was no upload last week. That was because my opponent unfortunately had too much going on in real life and ended up needing to take a forfeit just to deal with real life. So unfortunately ended up getting a forfeit victory last week, and next week the opponent that I'm supposed to face for the last week of the SDA also dropped, so there will not be a battle next week. Also, we have locked up the 1 seed or 2 seed depending on the result of this battle, because actually someone is very, very close to me. But 1 and 2 seed don't matter. They both get the bye. So we have locked up a bye for the first round of playoffs. So last week there was a bye because of a forfeit. This week we have a game. Next week we have a bye because of a dropped coach. And then the week after we have a bye because of the first round of playoffs. And then we'll play in the semis. So we're going from like 3 out of 4 weeks of not playing, but this is the one we get to play, so we're gonna have fun with it. I am currently 10-0, and honestly I would have memed out this game because my battle doesn't matter for seeding really at all for me or my opponent, except I'm undefeated, and I don't want to lose my undefeated record because I memed. I also don't want to push myself so hard that this game causes me dramatic stress, so I had some fun with prep this week. The team is kind of interesting, but is more standard than I think a meme game would encourage. So you'll see that as we go along. The team looks totally normal, but it's a lower stress level of build. So the team that I'm facing is Terrakion, Zoroark, Thundurus, Therian, Chandelure, Metagross, Solrock, Togetic, Porygon, Drampa, Slowbro, and Amoonguss. And the first thing you'll notice is that the first half of that team is just food for Spectrier, and the second half of that team is just obnoxious for Spectrier. There's Zoroark is a pain, but other than that, it's Zoroark, Drampa, and Porygon are the things that resist Ghost, and everything else is basically weak to it or just going to take a huge chunk from Spectrier, and nothing is outspeeding Terrakion, which means that Spectrier outspeeds the whole field. So very interesting across the board. Just like, I don't know what his plan is to do with Spectrier. We're gonna have to find that out, but we're going to start off with Clefable. Clefable is going to be Stealth Rock, Moonblast, Soft Boiled, and Thunder Wave. Support, honestly, is really, really nice for the Spectrier later. Thunder Waving a couple of things, maybe like the Terrakion. I am unaware, so I can not worry as much about Double Dance Terrakion. Getting Rocks up will be really, really nice for figuring out the Zoroark. This team was drafted oddly around Zoroark in the sense that there's a lot of mons that are not neutral to Stealth Rock, which means that the only mons it can disguise as, realistically, are Solrock, Porygon, Drampa, and Amoonguss. Otherwise, I know exactly what it is if rocks are up, assuming there's no boots, obviously. And so it's going to be really, really helpful to know what I'm looking for with Stealth Rock damage to figure out whether I know whether the mon across from me is the Zoroark, and which is why Stealth Rocks are so important this week. And I think very, very valuable just for information gain in that sense. This Clefable can switch in on things like the Slowbro pretty safely. It can switch in on the Terrakion pretty safely. Unfortunately, it is setup fodder for a Calm Mind substitute Chandelure, so I do have to watch out for that, but I'm hoping that doesn't come to it, and ultimately I do have Unaware, so I will be able to chip them down. I will go right through the Calm Mind boosts and be able to attack with Moonblast two hit breaking substitutes, which is nice. And their boosts are scary, but not the end of the world. Next up is my Como-O this week, which we are going to be rocking out with a special throat spray set with Autotomize, Clanging Scales, Boomburst, and Aurasphere. This is just a killer against their roster. Boomburst is just really, really spammable and pretty nice coverage in addition to Dragon and Fighting. There's not really anything I'm... Like, there are walls for this. It can't Oko Metagross, it 2KOs Metagross, and it dies to Zen Headbutt into Bullet Punch, but if I can get the attack off on the Metagross before it comes in or do any damage to it anywhere else, Aurasphere is doing about 60% to non-Assault Vest Metagross, which is really, really nice. Additionally, I think something like the Slowbro or Amoonguss could come in and take a Clanging Scales okay and threaten me a lot, but I am Overcoat, so Amoonguss can't Spore, since that was a more dangerous option to stopping the sweep than Sludge Bomb was, and Shadow Ball from... I honestly don't expect Shadow Ball from Chandelure because of the fact that I could be bulletproof, and they'll be afraid of that. So Sludge Bomb from the Zoroark or Chandelure seem a lot less likely than them trying to Spore my Como-O with Amoonguss. Next up is Drapion, Swords Dance, Knockoff, Ice Fang, and Earthquake. This coverage is so good against their roster, and Knockoff is so spammable. You're going to find out that that's a bit of a trend on this team. Knockoff is just really, really spammable. Yes, they have a Terrakion. Yes, that's terrifying. I am Shookaberry. I can live a hit from the Terrakion. And Knockoff is still good because it still gets rid of the item. And I can take a hit from the Terrakion and Earthquake back. If they get the boost from Justified, they can kill me with Close Combat, but not Earthquake. So depends on how they want to decide to do it. But if they kill me with Close Combat, then they're at -1 defenses, and that is really helpful for me later. And they don't have an item, which is also really helpful for me later. Next up is Scizor. This is Banded Scizor. It's Banded Scizor. Banded Scizor does Banded Scizor things. Bullet Punch, U-Turn, Knockoff, Superpower, super standard. I don't actually expect myself to click Knockoff all that often against this roster, although if it finds itself in against things like Chandelure, it's not a bad option to click. Mostly, it's just going to be spamming Bullet Punch and U-Turn, as you'd expect. But in a pinch, it has access to the Knockoff and the Superpower just in case I need it. Really standard set. Nothing too surprising about this particular mod. What is the notification? It's not up. Court, thank you for the host. Appreciate that. Glad to have you with us. I apologize, I've been sort of ignoring chat. Just want to get through this because my opponent's already ready to go. So I'm just trying to kind of blaze through this. But next up is the Spectrier. Spectrier is going to be rocking out with the Nasty Plot, Shadow Ball, Substitute, and Hyper Beam. Why not? We're bringing it back. We're bringing Hyper Beam back. This time we're actually rocking it with Nasty Plot instead of the Calm Mind, which allowed the Moltres to live slightly, and it was so frustrating. So Nasty Plot, Hyper Beam can kill everything not named Porygon in one hit once I'm at +2. So we're just going to try to destroy things. That's it. This thing is just going to wreck everything in its path, and we're not going to stress too much about it. It's going to just attack. And I have to figure out what my opponent's check to this is even, because there's no counter. That's certainly true. And lastly, we have the Mew. Mew is rocking out with Icicle Spear, Low Kick, and Knockoff. If you are watching this on YouTube and you can see the team, I know the people on Twitch can't actually see the team right here, but people on YouTube, look at the roster and tell me what isn't weak to one of these coverage moves. The answer is nothing. Every single mon gets hit super effectively by this Mew. So we're rocking out with an Expert Belt because I can hit every single mon on the roster super effectively. I thought about going Close Combat, which allows me to guaranteed OHKO the Porygon, whereas if it's max def Porygon, Knockoff into Low Kick at +1 just misses the KO guaranteed, even after rocks. But now Low Kick does more than 50%, so I'm doing more than recover, so eventually I will win the fight. And I knock off the Eviolite, and it's not specially defensive, which would be really surprising. If Porygon shows up, I feel like it's going to be specially defensive because the Spectrier is the thing it's coming to check, not the Mew. And so the only way it lives a knockoff into a Low Kick at +1 is if it's physically defensive. And if it's physically defensive, it's not specially defensive, which means that the Spectrier at +2 OHKOs it. So I immediately get that information. I immediately know, put it in range of that, get rid of the Eviolite, don't care. And like, I just think if I can get to +1, this thing can sweep the entire roster. That's it. And that's what the Mew is going to be trying to do. We hit every single mon on the roster, literally every single mon on the roster super effectively with this Mew. So that was the idea of the set, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully we manage to pick up a W here and get ourselves the undefeated regular season again, like we did in PBAL, but we lost the championship there, so I need to get back there. I did not expect to get another opportunity to do it, and this is my last battle of the regular season. I know there's one more week of the regular season. Like I said, my opponent has already dropped the league, and I've been given a forfeit win already for that battle, so don't expect an upload next week or a battle on Twitch next week. But this is our chance to go undefeated in the regular season of the SDA. I'm going to go get connected with my opponent. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys all back here tomorrow with that battle. Take care, everybody.